Did a song inspire a legend, or did the legend inspire a song? Is a 7-foot cryptid native to northern Michigan? What would you do if you saw piercing blue eyes staring at you in the darkness? Today we test the believability of the Dogman.
Welcome to Believing the Bizarre,
We dive into the unknown and the unusual.
and tell you whether or not we find it believable.
Oh!
Yeah, not werewolves, Dogman.
Yeah, specifically not werewolves, actually.
Yeah, not bark bark. No, but not aliens either.
No.
That's a callback. Woof.
Woof. Oh, bark, bark.
Dog pound. Are we talking about the Browns today?
Woof, woof. No. No, actually, we're talking about Michigan.
Oh.
Specifically Michigan.
Okay.
So, the Wolverines, right?
Yeah.
I
My brain does not go college. I am not a college sports fan by any means. Like, do I root for Ohio State? Yeah.
Sure,
Like, I hope
yeah.
they win, but I'm not emotionally. Being a Cleveland sports fan, I don't have any room in my heart left to give to anything else. Even though Ohio State would probably treat it the best out of everything.
Yeah.
You know.
But I labeled the file like dark blue for Michigan, because that's what I associate with Michigan.
So for Michigan or for these piercing blue eyes?
Kind of both.
I'm assuming that this Dogman is handsome now. He gets his hair done. He's got nice blue eyes. I feel like this is the second time where we've talked about eyes, and I wanted to make a reference. Cillian Murphy, right? That blue eyes. The Scarecrow in the Batman movie.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Is he a Dogman?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, as far as we know.
As far as we know.
Although I doubt he's from Michigan, so.
I think he's Irish, right?
No idea.
I guess let's just move on.
I don't have anything interesting to say. We're past Halloween now. I'm surprised any of you are still listening. It's Thanksgiving and turkeys and all that stuff time.
Oh, this was a technically voted in topic from the Patreon.
That's true.
So I got I think this was the most votes we've ever had for a Patreon episode. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
It was 29.
It tied?
It tied.
But
it's tied.
You made a good business decision though, because what it tied with, which I don't think we should say, is a massive ghost story.
It's so big and one of my favorites, and I was like, I don't have enough time to do this.
Yep.
And I was like, because there's a whole book I want to get and do. Yeah.
Listen, when your only option is subpar, you go Detroit.
It was an easy shot, but I'm glad he took it.
Or Michigan at this case. I got a couple friends out that live in Michigan. They know I'm just messing with them. The rest of the state can hate me. I'm sorry.
I don't.
But I'm not a big Ohio State fan, so we should be fine.
So I've got a couple sources I wanted to say up top.
Yeah.
Cryptid Wiki.
Wikipedia,
But for
Reddit,
cryptids.
my mom.
Strangeology.com.
Strangeology.com.
Have you used them before?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. And unsettlingthings.com.
Can we just make a site that's like weirdo bizarre stuff saras.net?
It would work. Quick plug, we do have a website, believingthebizarre.com.
That's true. It's a .com because we don't cheap out.
That's right.
Although all these were .coms. That was a kind of an attack on my own joke. We do have a website, believingthebizarre.com, merch. You can submit your story.
All our episodes are there with our beautiful pictures and like written out stories from Ben.
Yes. I sacrificed a whole week of sleep building that thing, so go enjoy it.
Yeah, he was like crazy for a week. It was pretty cool actually. And my last source is michiganradio.com.
I am joking. I have no problem with Michigan. I hope everybody. Eminem's great.
That was a weird tension between like us and Michigan.
I know. I felt it. I had to relieve it. I want you to be able to enjoy the next however long. I'm going to go on a limb and say 46 minutes.
But this is not our first Michigan.
No, we did the lake
Yeah.
triangle.
Yeah.
If you could somehow make sure that it was exactly 46 minutes left, so I look cool. It's kind of all in your hands.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. What else have we done for Michigan?
That might be it.
Yeah, but that was a fun episode.
It's a weird area.
Yeah. It's like close to Chicago, but it's not Chicago.
That's split in two.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've seen the state on a map.
If it's geography, I gotta make sure you understand what I'm saying.
That's 100% justifiable. Dude, actually, non sequitur for like 30 seconds. I was at work today and we were scrolling over a map because there's a bunch of, I'm not going to go into details about that stuff, but I was hovering over like Atlanta and he wanted to show me something. Oh God, what city was it? It actually was Detroit, ironically.
Oh, okay.
He's like, go up to Detroit. And I kid you not, there was 2 seconds where I was like, I promise you I'm not stupid, y'all. It's a $1 billion company. I really didn't want to mess this up. But I found it. I found it, okay? I found it.
Did anyone help you?
Nope.
Okay.
No, and I even had the opportunity to search and it would have jumped. But I found it. I scrolled.
You have a lot of intelligence in many places. That is not one, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So if you're really interested in this story, you're like, oh man, I love the Dogman, and you want to hear more than what we're going to talk about today, there is a whole other podcast called Dogman Encounter Radio.
Whoa.
They almost have 400 episodes.
Wow. Do you have 400 personal encounters?
No, I do not.
Forget about that 46-minute thing. This is going to be a 46-hour podcast.
Yeah. No, I did not copy paste all their stories.
Okay.
If you're really interested, like, oh man, I wish I heard some really cool more stories from the Dogman.
Yeah. Kind of seems like something you might do after our episode.
Yeah, I think that's definitely an after thing. Yeah,
you might want to edit that to the end. Or leave it where it is. It doesn't matter. We'll trust you to come back.
Yeah, well, if you do go, just come back because we got more.
Dinner's ready. We're waiting for you.
But that's where you go if you want more Dogman. But right now, let's learn about the origins and all the fun stuff.
We're the 101 class.
Yes.
And if you want to major in Dogman, then that's where you go.
Weirdly enough, we've made that analogy before.
Yeah, I think schooling has been drilled in our heads, even though we're out of it now, thankfully. But I feel like that whole mindset, you do it for 25, 30 years. It's drilled in your head.
Oh! So what is the Dogman? A lesser known but terrifying cryptid usually known to live in the Michigan area, particularly in Wexford County. And that is definitely in the northwestern kind of area of Michigan.
Wexford?
Wexford.
It sounds rich.
It is not.
Okay. I don't know.
And that's in it's not across the lake. It's on the other side of it's on the main side of the Mitt.
The Mitt, okay.
Of Michigan.
Yeah. Have you been there? You know it's not rich?
Weirdly enough, I've been in that area because our designer Eddie is from that area.
Oh.
So I've been up in his home area.
He's a little hairy.
Oh, he is.
Is he a Dogman?
He's not that hairy, actually.
Oh, he's really?
I lived with him for a while. I know he's not that hairy.
I've seen him naked.
So the myth, the legend, says the Dogman is approximately 7 feet tall, give or take a couple feet, and has a humanoid build and is covered with dark gray, brown, black fur.
They're just fitting every color. It's filled with gray, brown, black, red, blue, purple hair.
And I've seen some furry depictions where he has like 8-pack abs. I'm like, man, he's really in shape. And it's very particular. His eyes are a vibrant kind of blue and or yellow color. And they stick out at night. Specifically, he is not described as a wolfman, but a dogman. And it kind of reminds me of like a husky or a German Shepherd kind of dog. So when you think of it, think of like a German Shepherd head on a human body.
Okay, that makes me think of like the god, you know what I'm talking about, like the
Anubis.
mummy. Yeah, Anubis. That's what it makes me think of.
I was actually going to throw this later, but this whole thing reminds me of like an Egyptian god who was stuck in rural Michigan. Well, I don't.
That's a different type of tomb right there.
I was getting into it later, but it feels almost. Oh, this is so like woody. I don't know if I even want to get into it.
Go ahead, man.
It feels almost like it's like psychically linked in some kind of way. Like it's
like if you travel directly through the world from Michigan, you'll end up somewhere where there's like a tomb in Egyptian.
Oh. Well, I just mean like it's like some kind of hidden collective unconscious where a lot of like people from that area ended up or something, and like it's there without people realizing it's there because it has some kind of connection to their history.
Like the culture somehow brought this cryptid over.
Yeah, without realizing it.
What if it was like, and this is, I got nothing to back this up. With like when Pangea, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when the land was different and it was one huge continent, and then when it started shifting, maybe, cause you always find different animals and stuff that end up in places that you wouldn't expect them to be, or you'll find fossils of an animal in a different continent where you wouldn't expect them to be. So maybe this somehow migrated over from a different area. Cause or it's native to Michigan, you know? Who are we to try and take away their cryptid?
I mean, at one point, there was an actual land bridge that linked Alaska to Russia. And that's the theory of how people from Native American cultures came to America.
There is a 10-year-old Sarah Palin joke in there somewhere.
There's a very old, yeah. I could walk to Russia for my... Stupid. Tina Fey would be proud.
Yes.
But I know this whole section of the podcast is living in kind of this place where it almost doesn't make sense. Well, I'd say it definitely doesn't make sense, but it feels kind of spiritual / psychic to me, where it's like there could be this collective unconscious thought of the Wolfman being there.
Well, what it does is it explains why it's there. Like, but it doesn't answer it, but it's a hypothesis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's its purpose. Cause, you know, you think about like aliens and cryptids and all these creatures, or even a ghost. Why is a ghost in the house? You can't explain it, or you can. Somebody died there. This is a way. I mean, naturally, why would you assume that a Dogman is in Michigan? It doesn't. Maybe you'll get to it, but to me, nothing seems obvious. So this is just a theory on why it might be. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's all it is. It's a potential theory. I don't know.
What I like about it so far is that I can visualize this. I'm not going to lie. I had the hardest time visualizing the Frogman. I got a clear view of what this guy is.
I told Steph what this episode's going to be. She was like, another man. She's like, Believing the Man podcast, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but
yeah.
Get more girl cryptids out there.
I mean, we've done Goatman,
Charman,
Bunnyman, Frogman,
Toadman.
Now we're doing
Dogman.
That's like 6 or 7 mans.
What if we make a dude? Is that better? Dog dude, frog dude.
I think they'd be a little more upset about it.
Bunny dude.
Bunny dude. I don't know.
Rabbit person.
Oh! So let's keep going with the Dogman. Out of my Egyptian thing, back into the actual story. So the legend of the Dogman dates back to the 1800s, and he was first seen in recorded history in 1887. And these two lumberjacks claim to have seen this creature, like I described, a man's body, 7 feet, 8 feet tall, with a dog-like head.
It seems like lumberjacks are prone to these experiences. This is not the first time. We've talked about lumberjacks and a sighting.
Yes. And also, I was listening to another podcast today, and they talked about lumberjacks in the 1800s in Michigan.
What?
Being picked off by another cryptid. I was like, are you kidding me?
What cryptid?
I don't remember. It was a dumb name. I don't remember
what podcast?
Scared to death. I didn't want to give them the clout.
Well, you already shouted out another podcast, so might as well shout out another podcast.
I guess that's true. And this is something I didn't realize about the Dogman until I started doing some research about it. And it's actually seen in 10-year cycles with years that end with 7.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting pattern.
It
also
is.
Thinking Dogman, if it's a husky, cooler temperatures, Michigan, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, there's places more northern than Michigan, but maybe that's like the perfect northernness. They get their seasons.
But also, years that end with 7. How many years are dogs supposed to live to a human? 7. Is that interesting?
You mean 1 year is 7 years?
Yeah. Is that coincidental? Probably. But it's there. So, like with Bigfoot and the Patterson and Gimlin film that shows Bigfoot in the Washington area.
The famous Bigfoot one.
The famous one.
Yeah.
There is a film from the 1970s that proves the Dogman exists called the Gable film.
Oh.
And it's on YouTube. I watched it. It's pretty boring till about 3 minutes in.
Okay, 3 minutes. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
We will be posting this video in our Facebook group.
The thing about this video is that there was a Histories Unsolved or whatever about the Dogman. And apparently the guy who made the film was interviewed in this. He claimed it was a fake.
We will not be adding this to our Facebook group.
No, we should still post the video.
Okay.
Some people are like, yeah, it's definitely fake then. Some people think maybe he's covering himself. I don't know what to think about it.
He's trying to throw the Dogman off his trail. He's being like hunted by the Dogman, and he feels like if he says it's fake, maybe he can convince the Dogman that he's safe and he doesn't need to kill him.
Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Dogman Mafia.
It feels real when you watch it.
Dog Mob Man.
Can you imagine like a Dogman with like a
Fedora?
The rumors and legends of the Dogman existed in the area since the 1800s. The current popularity didn't really start until 1987 when a disc jockey recorded a song about the Dogman.
Well, I do have a question.
Yes.
What happened to the lumberjacks?
They got eaten, I think? No, nothing. They ran away.
They just saw it.
They said, whoa!
They
ran.
just said, this big hairy dude's got Cillian Murphy eyes. I'm
Does he
scared.
have 9 nipples? No, they ran away. They said, ah! Oh!
9 nipples.
This guy in 1987 recorded this song about the Dogman, and it really blew up in the area.
Well, what was it called? The Dogman?
It's called The Legend of the Dogman.
Oh.
And we're going to post it, I'm sure. The most interesting about this song is that it's more like a poem set to music than actually a song, if you know what I mean. So, like, you know the band Cake?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some songs are poems, and then there's the thong song.
Yes. Oh, it really sticks to that 7-year rotation thing. Or the 10-year on the 7 rotation.
Every 10 years on the 7.
Yes.
So, like, 2017 would have been the last year that he was out and about.
Oh! So, like I said about the 3 stories, there are 3 really big stories that really give the Dogman, like, life. The thing about all the stories I have, none of them take place on a 7-year. They all take place in, like, an 80 or a 6 or around.
But they're in Michigan.
Yeah, they are.
Like, all right, it's actually not on a 7, and it's not in Michigan.
Oh, the last one's in
not
Michigan. The last one is not.
It's in not Michigan?
It's about as far as from Michigan as you can get, actually. So let's just start with the first one. And this is called the river sighting. In 1938, in Paris, Michigan, which is absolutely in the middle of Wexford County, I looked it up, 17-year-old Robert Fortney was next to the Muskegon River when he was attacked by 5 wild dogs. And he said that one of them was a beast that stood on its hind legs and it had piercing blue eyes. And it was definitely tall. He said it was about 7 feet tall. He also said, eventually when he finally came out and said this story, almost 50 years later, that, quote, "It might be that I was just scared, but I swear that dog was smiling at me." And then he shot his rifle and he ran for his life.
I wonder if he hit it.
He didn't say.
Like to scare it away.
I think he just shot in the air.
I got 1 bullet left.
And that's the story of the river sighting.
You know, I have to say, when you say a dog smiling, it sounds creepy. But I think when my dog smiles, it's like the cutest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like, where it's like that, like, it's like panting, but its mouth is wide and the eyes are a little squinty.
I know what you mean.
It's actually really cute. I'm not, now maybe for him, different experience.
I think in that situation, yeah.
How did he even live?
You ran. You shot and ran, I think.
I'm not that afraid of these dogmen if this one dude got away. Maybe he's really fast.
Maybe he's really fast. He was 17.
Yeah, you got good legs, good hamstrings when you're 17.
So the next big story is, I called it the factory. This is it's a longer story. In 1961, not 1967, 1961.
1957, yeah.
The manufacturing plant was situated near a large wilderness area in the Haymarsh of the Big Rapids of Michigan. The watchman of the area was provided housing right across the street from the plant, and often conducted his guard duty on his own porch. He recalled times when he patrolled the plant's perimeter at night, and he regularly heard coyotes, bears, and other strange sounds in the darkness. Certainly that would be enough to put anyone on edge and want to stay in the safety of your own porch, rather than going out into the darkness. One night at 3 a.m., during a routine shift on his porch, he heard rustling along the fence near the back of the plant. Drawing his gun, he observed the area around him for a few minutes. A figure, then emerged from the darkness. The watchman described the creature as being covered in fur and was much taller than a normal human and had very broad shoulders. To top it off, its face appeared canine with a long snout. The creature switched between being on all fours and its hind legs and made its way along the perimeter of the fence. Instead of firing his gun, the guard ran inside to grab his camera, and when he returned, the creature was now prowling its way along the plant's driveway, directly under a lamppost. It was then that the watchman managed to take a picture using a long exposure method due to the low light. After this, the creature retreated into the haymarsh.
The laziest guard in the world.
I kind of thought it was smart.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
He's on that working from home life.
Yeah, he was way
ahead.
before anybody really thought of it.
He's a pioneer.
I don't know. I kind of into that. I'm kind of into that job a lot. That'd be really cool.
If I could work and just look around at night from my deck, it'd be pretty sweet.
Like your job's to sit up all night, drink coffee, sit on your porch.
I know me though, and I would always have the anxiety of like, am I doing enough? Am I, that type of thing. He's obviously doesn't seem to care.
No.
I don't know enough about photography. When you were talking about the certain shot, the
long exposure.
Yeah. Isn't that like an overtime thing?
I have no idea.
Cause I always thought, and I might sound so ignorant, and I'm not claiming to know. I'm just claiming what I think of it. I know nothing of photography. It makes me think of like when you see like the stars and you see things move and you see it over time. And I don't know how long this Dogman was around.
He had a treat for it.
Yeah. Oh God, he just kept throwing little biscuits out there, bone shaped treats, peanut butter.
He's like, is it a sausage?
Dogman's like, this is great. Sausages.
Yeah, I don't know. Forever ago, I think some dude on Instagram hit us up who was like, I think he was a self-proclaimed star painter. Do you remember that?
No.
He sent us some really cool images.
Huh.
I wonder if he knows.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that know, and they're probably screaming at us right now. You know what? I'm going to look it up. All right. It says long exposure or time exposure is a slow shutter photography. Or it's a form of slow shutter photography. Involves a long duration shutter speed to sharply capture the stationary elements of images while blurring, smearing, obscuring the moving elements. Seems like it'd be a terrible thing.
For a cryptid.
Yes. I feel like that the Bigfoot is
they're all actually long exposures.
Somebody just has the wrong setting on all of their cameras every time they see it. You know what would be my luck? I would see something terrifying like this, and because I'm a millennial, my instinct would be to take a picture, and I'd pull my phone up, and I would turn my, the screen brightness down, and I'd be really quiet, and I'd get my phone up, and I would go take a picture, and the motherfucking flash would be on.
Oh my God.
That would be my luck, and then it's alerted, and then I'm dead.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that at a bar?
I did it at a museum once.
I did it at a bar.
And some people almost killed me.
Well, yeah, you can't. That damages the photography because they say so.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah. No, there's this person, I don't remember why I thought they were interesting enough to take a picture of. I was younger. But my flash was on. I left fast.
Okay, so let's move on to the
third
major incident. And I call it the incident because it's called this OnStar incident.
The OnStar incident? Isn't that
Did you know anything about the Dogman before this?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if you have, you might have heard of this because it's pretty famous.
Isn't OnStar though?
Yes, it is.
I noticed a trend that everybody's alone and there's no witnesses.
That's going to break with this.
Yes, good. Does the Dogman speak in this one? No, don't tell me. It says woof woof.
It's that scene from Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, God.
Edward, big brother. I'm going to keep that. I'm definitely going to keep that.
Was that overdubbed just now?
All right. So the OnStar incident, and I'm going to put probably the whole clip in because it's not very long. It's on YouTube. It's a recorded clip. I'll tell you what happens. Basically, the famous OnStar incident happens in Troy, Michigan in 2006.
Oh, in dog years, baby. Yeah. Maybe, see, that's the thing. We're going by human years. Maybe these are all in dog years.
I like that. I like that you're reaching.
Like if you start year 1, 0, 1, 0, yeah, and you just make it 7. So it's not like adding 7 to what, like 2000 is in 2007 because you have to go all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
So year 1 is 7. Year 2 is 14. Year 3 is 21. So you have to follow that trend.
But it's 10-year cycles.
In our world.
The end was 7.
In our world.
Okay.
Listen. Well, not why? Why? Says who? Because that's not true. You can't just say that.
I don't know why that became the myth. I don't know.
That's like the moon is full every 5th time of the second year in December. It's like, well, it's not. I mean, sometimes it might be. But, you can't say that a pattern exists if it's not true.
And then blatantly break it,
That's
right?
just saying some shit.
I know. That's why I think the 10-year 7 thing is complete bullshit.
Who claims that? Cryptid,
it's from the song.
Cryptidology.com. Look at the song.
It's from the song. And that's where I think the word became written about.
Well, there's a song called Cleveland Rocks, and not all songs are true.
A man was driving down the road when suddenly, according to the driver, a great big dog that was standing upright appeared before him, and he swerved to miss whatever was on the road. And when he swerved, he ended up flipping his vehicle over onto its side. He and the passenger, thankfully, were not injured, but he was able to get assistance through OnStar. The OnStar recorded the conversation, and it spread across the internet. The recording ends, which makes me think it's not true. It ends with a barking and scraping of metal.
So they do bark.
Yeah. So the OnStar incident, that's what happened. But basically, the guy took the call. It was like an emergency. They flipped the car, and then it ends with the bark.
Or it was fake.
Or it was fake. Could be. But that's the famous 2006 OnStar incident.
I wonder what car they were driving that they were all both okay.
I assumed
okay
an
until the
SUV.
Dogman. Like a Buick, maybe?
I assumed like an SUV, big thing.
I hope that their 2007 model was dog-proof. They should do a commercial for that. Like, is your car flip on its side proof? Yes.
Or was
it
Ford.
dog-proof?
That's the competitors that...
It was Ram. Since 1998, Stamps.com has been an indispensable tool for nearly 1 million businesses. Stamps.com brings the services of the U.S. Postal Service and UPS shipping right to your computer. Whether you're an office sending invoices, a side hustle Etsy shop, or a full-blown warehouse shipping out orders, Stamps.com will make your life easier. All you need is a computer and a standard printer. No special supplies or equipment. Within minutes, you're up and running, printing official postage for any letter, any package, anywhere you want to send. And you get exclusive discounts on postage and shipping from USPS and UPS. Once your mail is ready, just schedule a pickup or drop it off. No traffic, no lines. Cut the confusion out of shipping. With Stamps.com's new Rate Advisor tool, you can compare shipping rates and timelines to easily find the best option. Save time and money with Stamps.com. There's no risk. And with our promo code POD, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in POD, P-O-D. That's Stamps.com, promo code POD. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
So moving on to, I have a few more encounters of the Dogman, but those are the 3 big stories. Those are like the big 3 of the Dogman. The 38 shooting, the river sighting, the factory, and then the OnStar. So I've got some more stories, and these come from specifically unsettling things until I get to a certain point, and I'll tell you the difference. And this is called Ray's Drive, because this is a pattern of the Dogman where he likes to pop out in front of cars. In the fall of 1986, out near Manistee, Michigan, Ray Greenway was driving home from the Manistee Army recruiting station late one night when he noticed something off in the darkened field beside him. His headlights were reflecting off of what appeared to be eyes that were far too high off the ground to be a deer. Suddenly, the undefinable creature began running towards him and made an incredible leap clear across the 2-lane road. There is no animal that could do that. I know that is not a deer, Ray later recalled. He went on to describe its yellow eyes and impossible leaping abilities. Quote, I do remember that I saw both eyes as if they were looking at me the whole time. That, along with the leaping ability, is what I will never forget. End quote.
I mean, I've never seen a deer hop over 2 lanes. That's something, right?
I mean...
Have you?
No, but I mean...
They got the big calves, or the hamstrings, I guess.
Deer are pretty good at jumping, I guess, but... I don't know, 2 lanes of traffic, that's pretty good. I don't know. I'm not a deer hunter. I don't know their abilities. I don't know their stats.
We know the not deer stats, but we don't know the deer stats.
That's right. Oh man, what if the not deer and the Dogman hang out?
It's possible.
That'd be creepy. Isn't that creepy?
They hang out and
what if they hunt each other?
Don't exist land. What if they're like arch nemesis?
Oh god, you remember that show on like Spike forever ago? It was like Deadliest Warrior.
Yeah.
Where they simulated like 500 encounters.
The not deer versus the Dogman.
I would pay to watch that simulation. That'd be cool as shit.
Or another simulation. The epic rap battle. Epic rap battle story.
Actually,
Dogman
that's pretty good too. The not deer.
The not deer. Go. That's how we'll know we've made it. If we ever get on an epic rap battles of history.
Oh yeah, like Rhett and Link.
Yes, just like Rhett and Link.
The baby cry.
Ooh, I already don't like this one.
One witness claims a Dogman was stalking up the hill behind their house in the late fall of 2001. Quote, my stepdaughter and I were looking out the French doors to see this creature, black in color, like a big bear, with haunches and the head of a wolf. End quote. While that was the only visual Cass County, Michigan resident gave, they can still hear it splashing around the 20-acre swampland at night. Sometimes they can even hear it shrieking. Quote, it has the scream of an infant, loud and hysterical. End quote.
Maybe that's a Williams story thing.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, Virginia... Now, even me, a geography novice, knows that Virginia and Detroit, Michigan, or... Detroit is... I'll give them this. Detroit is also one of those cities, in my opinion, that is bigger than the state. Like Chicago in Illinois. And maybe that's just me, my simple mind. But regardless, Virginia and Michigan aren't that close.
No,
at all. But that doesn't mean it couldn't travel to Virginia Beach, maybe, or the Virginia swamps, in its downtime. I like the flexes, though, like our French doors.
I know. That subtle kind of like, well, we have French doors.
Yeah, we have all the money. Why shouldn't we have a Dogman?
Yeah. This encounter I called the 2009 Dodge.
Is that a car?
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Yeah. Rhonda of 3 Lakes, Michigan, had a Dogman encounter in the fall of 2009. She was traveling on the highway with her son when the beast ran across near Tioga Creek. Quote, we were very puzzled and thought it might be some kind of mutant wolf. It could not figure out what we had just witnessed. It ran fairly fast, about 50 feet in front of our truck. It was so strange because the front of it was so much higher up than the back, and it was larger than a wolf. She claimed she never heard of the Dogman until this incident. After reading descriptions of the stories online, she was able to confirm for herself that the creature was a Dogman.
Let me tell you why this one's not real. So, I've had an encounter with something that ran in front of my car.
Mm-hmm.
And I've probably told that story in person 30 times, in other interviews 5 or so. So let's just say total 40 times I've probably in my life told that story. Not one time, shout out my boy Ethan who I was with, never have I ever started that encounter with, we were really puzzled.
Now, let's move on to the Reddit bullshit stories.
Yes, this is what I live for.
I have 2.
Perfect.
I love them. I like them both very much. So this one, I call this the environmentalist encounter. My friend, who happens to be an environmentalist in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, saw a Dogman in Manchester County. He and his friends were going back camping out in the woods on this large pickup truck, and he was looking toward the wood line to make sure no deer were going to jump out in front of them. The truck was going about 40 miles per hour, and he noticed something was following them on this trail. He then told his friends to slow down a little bit, because he saw something. And before he could slow down, the creature jumped in the middle of the path, and then back into the woods. and they all got the clear description of what it was. My friend said it was this tall creature with the body of a bodybuilder, perked ears, a snout like a German shepherd. He also said the appendages of the animal were human-like, but with large claws at the ends of the hands and the feet, and it had a large bushy tail. He still tells this story to this day, and I believe it, because him and his friends all confirm it.
I gotta admit, I've been overlooking the tail.
I have too. I haven't really thought about it. No one really mentioned it.
Mm-mm.
But did you notice where that story took place?
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Jersey Devil territory.
Yeah.
Technically, the Pine Barrens was a big place when it came to the Jersey Devil.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird stuff in the Pine Barrens. This next story from Reddit is I called it the foreign dog. When I was 6 years old and attending primary school in South Africa, where it was a sort of alley between the main building and had a retaining wall that had a storage room at the end of it, with a bunch of desks and chairs stacked in front of the doors, I and a friend saw what we believed to be a dog man. We were playing near the entrance of the alley in the early morning before school began, when one of us noticed movement coming from behind the stacked desks in the room. We both looked, and we saw a creature that had the head of a black wolf or dog and the body of a man with glowing green eyes. It watched us from behind the desks, moving up and down on all fours to its hind legs, alternating between completely hiding itself from our sight and peeking up at us in the gaps of the desks. Me and my friend stood there, frozen, for a few minutes, watching this creature watch us from the end of the alley, before one of us snapped out of it and pulled the other away, leading us both to run away. My friend and I later told people about this, but no one seemed to believe us. And that's the end of the story.
So, we got New Jersey and South Africa?
South Africa.
Wow, that's where Dave Matthews is from.
Yes. And nowhere near Michigan.
Nope.
No.
Nope, nowhere near Michigan. I will say, though, like, I know we joke about, like, claiming Mothman, even though it's really a West Virginia thing because of the Ohio River. Dogman feels like something that could be beyond just Michigan. Like, it doesn't feel... Some things feel like their region, where I feel like a Dogman could exist anywhere.
That's true.
It doesn't... Well, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not saying those stories feel unbelievable because they don't take place in Michigan. I'm not saying they're not unbelievable. There's other things maybe. I just mean just because they don't exist in Michigan, I don't think... Like, for instance, when we talk about skinwalkers, which I think will probably get brought up in our discussion.
Yeah.
Where that's more of a Southwestern thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it starts making me feel, the further you get away from the Southwest, the more I'm like, maybe it's probably not. Or like when to go more up north. I feel like Dogman could be many places. It doesn't feel like, even though it's known from Michigan, and me being serious right now, not joking, I'm not trying to take away from Michigan. It just feels like something that could exist beyond just that state.
I could see it in Europe and Africa and Asia. I could see it being all over. But anyway, would you like to move on to the discussion?
Yes.
So before we move on to the discussion, I just want to go ahead and thank everyone who's on our Patreon, those members that have been there for a minute. We appreciate you so much. And I just want to thank those new members at the recording of this episode that joined recently, Connor and Claudia. Thank you so much for jumping on our Patreon because there's so much fun stuff on there, like our quiz, our director's cut, our Do You Believe the Bizarre with our producer Ben, like we own him. But there's so much fun stuff on there that I think we get to express more of ourselves and our personalities come out a lot more. If you like us on this show, I hope you like us on the Patreon too, because that's definitely where we more express ourselves. There's one episode where I got half naked. That's fun. Do you remember that episode, Tyler?
I do.
Yeah.
I do remember that episode. I think Ben called you out on it.
Yeah, he did.
See, here's the thing though. I'm so used to you. He also recently brought in your cocooning, where you sucked your arms into your shirt and you held them across your chest.
Yeah, that's just the thing I do. But anyway, really, really enjoy the Patreon episodes. I hope you guys do too. They're a lot of fun to put out and to make.
Yep, so if you want some bonus content, it's there waiting for you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you listening to this episode right now. Speaking of, let's get back to the Dogman.
So let's move on to the discussion. So the Dogman, do you think this has any connection to the Triangle in Lake Michigan?
I don't, because I don't think it's exclusive to Michigan. If I did think it was exclusive, then perhaps. I think the Michigan Triangle is very specific to that lake, and it physically exists there for whatever reason. This feels like something that just has roots in Michigan or a lot of encounters in Michigan, but I don't think it's exclusive to Michigan.
So I think we're on the same page here, but do you feel this is like a flesh and blood cryptid, right?
I don't know if it's a cryptid per se. Here's the thing. Here's where I'm stuck at. Yes, I think it's flesh and blood. I don't know if it's a cryptid. I don't know if it's its own cryptid. Like, it is a dogman. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. They are what we thought they were. Or is it something we're mistaking as a dogman? Or is it something entirely like in the skinwalker realm? Those are the three possibilities to me. It is what it is. It's some animal that people are just mistaking for a dogman. It's another known entity that people are mistaking as a dogman.
The thing about the dogman that gets me, it's often seen to be going between all fours and its hind legs. Typically in evolution, you pick one.
Yeah, unless you're a bear and you want to scare people.
That's true too. It makes me think about what it actually might be.
What do you think about the three ideas I just said, where it's either dogman, it is, an animal in the real world that we just mistake for it, or it being something supernatural that we mistake as a dogman? Where does what your perception of it land within those three ideas?
I think it's probably either its own thing, its own dogman thing, or an animal mistaken to be something.
So you don't think it's like a skinwalker?
I don't think it could be like a skinwalker or anything, because the biggest thing about the skinwalker thing to me is the presence. It's the energy, right?
Like the dread.
Yeah.
What it's trying to do, that basically the 100% negativity.
Yeah.
This thing kind of does come across as just an animal, right?
Yeah, it's just like, whoa, that's weird. That's huge. That's scary, but
think about it in this way, and I'm not insulting the dogman if you're listening. I don't feel a larger than life intelligence or intent.
Yeah.
From these stories, it doesn't feel like it's stalking you or it wants to harm you or wants to trick you or it's just 100% evil.
Right.
It really feels in the animal territory.
Yeah, it doesn't, like there's no like intelligence to draw you out by mimicking your loved one's voice.
Yeah, not more intelligence than a normal like animal or
like a wolf
or a dude, like a wolf dude. Yeah, but like it seems to have animal qualities more so than like what you would assume a skinwalker would be. Now that doesn't mean that there's not something we don't know about yet or we haven't talked about yet.
Mm-hmm.
That could always be, but we can't obviously speak to that right now. So I agree with you. I think it either is what it is or it's something that could be mistaken. And I'm assuming most articles you read were pro dogman, but did any of them say perchance what it could be if it's not?
No. I think if it's anything, it's probably a bear.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a skinny bear that hasn't been eaten too good, down on its luck, hard times, hits everyone. Maybe it has a more slender face, but I don't think none of the stories seem like a bear. And if bears be hopping 2-lane roads, I ain't going Michigan.
Yeah.
That's a terrifying thing to imagine.
Deer are also known to stand up on their hind legs as well.
Yeah, it has characteristics of a deer, but just because deers are always in the road and where they shouldn't be. But there's nothing physical about it that seems like a deer.
Right, like deer don't have claws.
Yeah.
Or do they? Not deer.
They got feet? I don't know. They got
feet.
They just have longer forearms that just end. Now, there was a third eye color in there, right?
Green.
Yeah, so blue, yellow, and green.
Yeah. Which are also colors reflected from
lights.
Yeah.
Is there any of the stories that really stick out to you that really make it seem like it's possible?
That it's like its own thing?
That's real.
The factory seems so mundane with the guy on his porch.
Yeah.
The laziest guard ever. It seems so mundane that it's just kind of part of the wildlife there that it just seems like it fits almost. So that seems in itself kind of...
That one seems one that would have been easy for it to be mistaken, though, I wonder.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he's probably a little bit drowsy. Was it 3 a.m.?
3 a.m.
3 a.m. It's dark out in the distance. The OnStar one is interesting. Obviously, that could be a prank. It could be fake. Maybe...
I'm going to put my cards on the table. I don't think that's real.
Yeah. That's creepy, though. But then there'd be like a follow-up. Like, what happened to those people?
Yeah.
Like, did they die?
I couldn't find a follow-up.
Yeah. the one about the thing jumping the 2 lanes. That's, I mean, I don't think a deer could do that.
I think he could. I really do.
2 lanes?
So it comes down to the sightings, the 3 main sightings. None of them are in that 10-year cycle. And
well, I'm just throwing that out. Like it's just something
that's gone.
It's just something people say.
Yeah, for sure. The first one in the 30s. How do you feel about that? The first one in the 1930s, where the kid sees the 5 dogs near the river, and then it says it smiled at me, and he shot at it.
What that comes down to is how reliable of a source they are. That's you know what I mean? They're alone. I mean, at face value, if that's true, I don't know what else it could have been. Even if you go with like bear's not going to smile. So if it's true, I don't know what else it could be. But do we believe this person from the 30s?
I don't know. He didn't report it till almost 50 years later.
That's true. Why?
I don't. Maybe he saw it come to life. He was like, oh shit.
It was his own time capsule.
Yeah.
He did the Dumbledore, and he sucked that memory out, put it in a time capsule, opened it up 50 years later. Was like, I should tell someone about this.
That's also the only story that shows any kind of intelligence.
Like almost human emotion, or emoting something.
Mm-hmm. The only one.
So the third one is the OnStar. And you pretty much already came out and said that one likely isn't real.
I don't think it is. That's my opinion.
So what was the second one again?
The guy at the factory.
Okay. I'm still stuck. I don't know if it's being mistaken for something else or if it just is what it is.
I know
That's the tough thing. It's like there's 2 things that balance here, and I guess you could argue it's in balance for most episodes where we don't concrete. Like a ghost story is pretty much it is what it is. But it's like there's the believability of whether these people actually saw what they think they saw, and then trying to dissect what it is that they saw. Like it's saying, do we think this is a real story? And then also, okay, let's accept that this is true. Well, is it a dog man? Or is it a bear? Or like we already kind of took out Skinwalker, but there's multiple things at play here, which makes it difficult.
But also, you asked me what I thought, if it was its own thing, something mistaken, and an entity.
And how do you feel?
How do you feel about the entity?
Because we made the Williams story connection. Because also, like the way that it ran, the thing that Williams saw ran on 2 feet, climbed the tree, and he heard baby crying come from the woods.
Yeah, it fits.
I just don't. It would be interesting to see a report or something on somebody more knowledgeable than us on what it could be. Because I'm drawing a blank. But that doesn't mean it's not true. But I can only offer the information that I have and the knowledge that I know. I don't know. There's like, I'm probably pretty much, I think I'm in the same boat where it's either it is what it is or it's something natural.
I can't think of what it could be that's natural. So I'm kind of more falling in its own cryptid monster, the Dogman.
Plus, dogs are so domestic to us.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like something you only see on TV or at the zoo. Like, somebody's like, it's the hippo monster, which I think everybody has a clear image of that. But you know what I mean? Like, I feel like dogs, you pretty much see them for a lot of people, you see them in your day-to-day life. It's not foreign to us. So I feel like it would be easy to recognize that in the wild as like a person type thing.
It's weird to me that it is a dog man and not a wolf man or something like that. That they did go with dog man and specifically not wolf man. Because that implies, like you said, there is some more domestication to it. That it's not as wild.
Right, but we're also trusting the same people that came up with the 7-year thing.
That's 100% true.
So I don't know how much credibility
that's what baffles me the most about it. Why not Wolfman? It seems easier.
Too close to werewolf, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
That would be, now if we go believable on this, and then eventually one day we're going to tackle werewolf. Ooh. It's going to be tough being like, is it a dog man or was it a werewolf? Did it howl at the moon? Did you see it transform before your eyes? Or did it have the head of a golden retriever and 6-pack abs?
Did it lick its pee-pee? Can you imagine the dog man, but with like a bulldog face instead?
Oh, that would actually be, that was in the original It.
Really?
With Tim Curry.
Oh.
Yeah, it's when he's breaking Henry out of the psych ward, and he knows that the cop who's going to beat him up is afraid of dogs. So it's got the clown body, but it has like a dog head.
Oh.
I guess it might be a Rottweiler, but it's a dog's head.
Okay. Well, that's creepy.
Yeah. Just
the cycle thing made me think of It as well.
Yes. Yeah. The 27 years for that, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
What I know about It, that's what it
What I know about it. What I know of It. Dude, I don't know. This is a tough one because like I said, it's not just It or the sightings. It's trusting them and then also trying to figure out what it is. But I think for the fairness of this, clearly you and I do not have other animals it could be.
No.
And we also, as of now, don't have we have other paranormal entities that it could be, but nothing that fits the region and fits perfectly.
Right. Nothing fits like
we
dead
said,
on.
Like we said with the skinwalker, it doesn't seem like there's intent here. It feels like just an animal that doesn't seem to belong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think we should tackle it, and in fairness for the episode at hand, we probably should tackle it like it is its own entity. This is the Dogman.
That's what I'd say.
Okay.
It's hard for me to believe a lot of this. There's a lot of witnesses. I'm a little skeptical of regional bias. Like, a lot of people in the area want to see the Michigan Dogman. I don't believe in werewolves.
Wow, you're just coming out and saying that right now.
I haven't done research on werewolves.
Okay. That's fair.
I haven't done a lot of research.
Like, I do believe in lichens, though.
I'm saying this without putting the research in.
No, it's fair.
I don't
As of
believe
this
in
moment,
werewolves.
listen, with new information, I've said this before on the podcast, and I'll say it again, because I think it expands beyond this podcast in your real world. You are allowed to change your opinion when new information is presented. Remember that, people. You don't have to stick to a side forever. When presented new information, you're allowed to change your opinion.
And I think this cryptid would have to be some kind of thing that breeds and multiplies, because I don't think it's over 100 years old. And I don't think it's been found by science. I give the Dogman a skeptical.
What if it was created by science and it was made by evil doctors that wanted to make dog soldiers, like the movie that has the guy who plays Alfred in Gotham, and they attack you.
Oh.
That was werewolves though. It was called Dog Soldiers, I believe.
Was
but
it?
It was about werewolves.
Okay. Well, if I would need some evidence for that, I guess. Yeah.
Like at least one 400 word Reddit story about.
At least one.
Did you ever see Overlord, the movie?
Yes, I did.
It was a good movie.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
I saw it in theaters, and
Oh, really?
yeah, dude, that was when I first ever sat in the movie theater where your feet get up and you recline
you got
back.
you. Yeah.
The helicopter crash intro was so good in theaters. It's
Super
probably
intense.
the best moment made for a cinema that I've ever experienced, where I just felt like I was in a helicopter crashing. I actually think now Michigan, I'm taking Michigan out of the title. I'm treating it like Dogman. The fact that it's seen in other places actually gives it more credibility to me. I don't know if I believe any of these stories, but for some reason this one doesn't feel far-fetched in certain ways to me. If you believe that cryptids are real, and there's things we've talked about that are believable, or that we've said are believable. I'll say this. I said skinwalkers are believable because I feel like I've had an encounter, and that means I trust that a human is able to transform into an animal's body. So I need that. I mean, that's the ramen noodle standard right there, where it's like accepting that to be true. Again, ramen noodle standard is saying it's the ramen noodle story from way back when we're saying if you step back and you actually look at what needs to happen to say that something is believable, just to put that in, front of mind. I'm going to give this one a viable, because I think it expands a long time from the 1800s, multiple regions. Definitely, there's no stories credible enough for me to go believable. But I think whether it's it could be a genetic thing about a dog that just, is different. It could be some type of, 1940s or 50s experimentation. Or it could just be a cryptid that is on its own somewhere. Not enough to go believable, but I'll give it a viable.
I think your opinion totally makes sense and is fair. Oh! So that is our episode on the Dogman. Thank you for listening to this one. A lot of fun to research and also a lot of fun to record.
You know it's not a lot of fun? Watching a Jim Harbaugh-led Michigan team.
Is that a sports?
Yeah.
Oof.
I think this will be one I'll listen back on and I'll be like, why did I go viable? I'm going off of how I feel in this moment. Like when we do on our Patreon, which is a thing. And if you want bonus content, you can absolutely go to patreon.com, Believe in Bizarre, and find it and watch some director's cuts and listen to some quizzes and bonus content. But that was a lead in to say that I do think when we do this on director's cut eventually, I'll probably have a different opinion than viable. Maybe I'll be believable. Maybe I'll be unbelievable. I don't know.
And you never heard of this before this, right?
I've heard of it, but
okay.
I never researched it.
And not often do I take you from little knowledge to a viable. I think that doesn't happen very often.
That's fair.
So I feel pretty proud of myself.
Okay. There's two aspects. There's the process of the cryptid and then the cryptid. And this one, like if you just accept the fact that there could be a humanoid / dog figure and that's already bought in, then this one isn't hard to believe,
to
right?
buy in.
Yeah. And we've believed crazier things.
Yeah. That's true. That's definitely true.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's taking two things I know, mashing them together. I'm justifying to myself again.
Okay.
I feel like I'm going to listen back and be like, dude, the hell. But that's really how I feel. Like, Frogman, I can't imagine walking around and seeing a Frogman thing out and about. I can't. But I can imagine, and maybe it's just because it's so close to werewolf and I've been seeing werewolves my entire life. That could, you know what? That's actually a really good point. That could be a bias.
It is.
But either way, I can envision this. I know what dogs are. I know what humanoid beings are. I am one. Believable. So that's my justification.
Okay.
And if you want to justify how much you like this podcast, you can, and you listen on an Apple device with the 10% of you out there. We track that stuff. Make sure you go to Apple Podcast and go to rate this podcast. Give us a 5-star if you're really enjoying it. Write a little something. We'll enjoy it. We'll share it. We'll post it on Instagram stories. It really does in the real world. It does mean a lot to us.
Yeah. Tyler said it does mean a lot to us. We screenshot, we send it to each other and go, hey, look at this comment. Isn't that like awesome? Like, why would they say that? It's so nice.
And then I print them out and I put them on my wall and I put candles around them.
I wasn't expecting that.
I should start doing that. I feel like that'd help me wind down.
Start doing
Listen,
that would come back. That'd be better than being on. Be covered in flyers of just.
That
comments.
Would be better than being on Twitter for an hour before bed.
Yeah,
the blue light and stuff. I'd rather look at the candle lights.
This is just getting worse.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Tyler,
and I'm Charlie,
and catch us next week on Believing the Bizarre,
a podcast as bizarre as you are.